Okay, we'll get started then. Well, thanks everyone for joining today, and I really appreciate everyone's time. And I know that webinar is the new event out there at the moment. So yeah, I just wanted to introduce a great panel that we've got today that sort of came out of a beer and a conversation with Andrew at Convert Digital. One of the things we were looking at different events that we could do. Reviews.io recently launched in Australia back in April last year. And yeah, so we've pulled together a subject today of supporting the customer journey through a tech stack. It's one of the key things that we look at reviews.io. I'd like to obviously welcome Jackie from Gorgeous, Rob from Klarna, Lizzy from Clayvo, and Julian from Message Media, and Fiona from LowLion. And again, thanks Fiona for joining pretty late in the UK. So yeah, appreciate your attendance today.
No worries, thanks very much for having us.
Excellent. Well, we might give each of the panelists a chance to introduce themselves and talk a little bit about what they do and what their offering is as far as how they exist in the market from a customer journey and tech stack perspective. But kick off over to Jackie.
Hey guys, thanks so much for having me today. So I'm Jackie and I'm with the partnerships team here at Gorgeous. So essentially what Gorgeous is, sorry, Andrew, next slide, is we transform your customer support into a profit center. So we pull in all your different customer communication channels into a single platform. So we do this first by automating customer support, increasing efficiency by up to 30%, so you can focus on what's really important. And we open up an area of new communication channels, so SMS, reviews, loyalty. You can access all of that through us, and we enable you to monetize customer interactions. So we bring in everything all together and we create opportunities with all of these different inquiries. So this is a quick snapshot of what we do, and just on next slide, sorry Andrew. So this is an example of one of the key features that we have. We have machine learning built in our platform. So we actually pull in data points from Shopify to automatically send templated macro responses. And this is one of the ways that you can increase your efficiency through us. And then this is a way that our machine learning can actually read customer sentiments through social comments. So we're able to understand if a social lead is an opportunity, if it's a negative comment, or a social question. We can segment that through our platform. And we can also create live chat within a couple minutes and create different live chat campaigns that can be triggered on static pages to really drive cross-sell and upsell opportunities. And to bring it all together, we also enable you to track the performance of your customer support team, transforming those pre-sale tickets into converted tickets and really see how much sales that can translate into. And so just a quick thing about us, we work with over 2,500 brands. We are an all-in-one customer support platform. We are the only Shopify Plus app that's a certified customer support partner. And we work with brands like Steve Madden, Meshki, Timbuktu, Kukai, and we're fully integrated with Shopify and Magento. We have 30 plus app integrations, including reviews.io and a LowLion integration that we're updating at the moment, and you can automate responses through us, and we also have machine learning. So that's just us in a nutshell.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Jackie. Rob, over to, I guess in Australia, the new kids on the block.
Yeah, very much so. Thanks very much for having us. Yeah, definitely new kids on the block. So I'm Rob Gibson. I'm also representing Klarna, but from a partnerships perspective. And we are, I guess, one of the global leaders in alternative payment methods. And we sort of straddle multiple different types of payment methods, which we'll have a look at in a couple of slides here. But just to give everyone a quick flavor of sort of our scale as a business, because not everyone would have heard of us and sort of where we've come from. So we are effectively a Swedish bank in terms of the fact that we have banking license, headquartered out of Stockholm. We're in 19 core markets now. We're the highest valued sort of non-listed fintech in EU. In terms of sort of our network of consumers or active consumers that are utilizing Klarna as a payment method, which is what we are, there's over 85 million shoppers around the world that are selecting us at the point of purchase. In terms of the network effect, which is one of the real drivers behind working with a global provider like Akana, there's over 205,000 retailers that are contributing to that, and obviously that means that there's an inline experience for all of those 85 million shoppers existing across all of those different retailers. So a great opportunity for new adopters of Klarna at a payment method. There's going to be a lot of shoppers that are going to be looking for it, but then also there's all of those other retailers where a shopper may have purchased there previously, and therefore we can offer them, potentially a pre-filled experience on a new retailer's website. I'll go to the next slide. We've launched here in Australia in partnership with the Commonwealth Bank, which was sort of announced towards the tail end of last year. That's a really great partnership in that it's the marrying of a typical financial institution, which is very important in sort of the regulated space in this market here, and then obviously Klarna bringing something different from a payment method perspective. So goes without saying, Combank very strong within the retail banking sector. Very digitally active audience. So a lot of their consumers are utilizing their own app and call Combank their personal banking app. And where Klarna fits within this sort of puzzle is you can sign up directly for Klarna within the Commonwealth Bank sort of from a flow. So we've got access to a lot of consumers there that can sort of be pre-authenticated and ported over into the Klarna world. But then also it just gives you, I guess, the validity that as a retailer, that you can put your trust in a business that has chosen to partner with a typical institution that it is operating sort of in a regulated capacity there as well. I'll go to the next slide. Some of the payment methods that we've got. So all around the world, we're going to have a different payment method that we can offer you in different territories. So the really interesting option for retailers to, map their growth and trajectory, and align that to sort of where Klarna can help them. As I mentioned, we've got all those different territories that we can help them in, but we sort of hone our payment methods locally based on either consumer preference or the pay cycle of individuals and things like that. So in this space, in ANZ, you'll see us with, I'll start with the middle, which is the installment style payment method, of which some of us are more accustomed to. And that's a real driver for, I guess, affordability, increased sort of return and purchase and loyalty as well. And you can increase your average order value and items in basket offering installment payment methods. On the left there is pay later in 30 days, which is great for new customer acquisition. It's the true buy now, pay later, soon to drop here as well within the Klarna suite. And that's where you can add whatever you like to the basket and get the full try before you buy experience. Klarna pays the settles with the retailer at the point of dispatch, and the consumer gets to take them home, touch them, feel them, and try that. And when we talk about new customer acquisition, well, it may be that is the preference, the driving force behind taking a risk on a new brand or a new shirt or something, is to literally try it before you buy it. I mean, look where we are now. Physical retail is sort of only just sort of starting to potentially reopen. So this is a great incentive for online retailers to offer that, fitting room into the sitting room experience. And obviously goes without saying, omni-channel experience of that, and it's very important. So you can offer Klarna in-store as well with integrations. I just wanted to stress, I guess, with this last little slide here, or second last slide, I should say, that we do obviously offer a breadth of choice across these different markets. So just because we won't let the borders of Australia consume sort of where the strategy drops off. If you want to offer localized payment methods of any of those core markets, we'll have something for you. And it's not just buy now, pay later. You'll look at invoice-based payments, bank transfers, like anything that we can provide you there. It's very different. So obviously come and have a chat to us there if you want to see what we can do around the world. And we're integrated beyond the ways in which we integrate with our payment partners, but probably more focused on this call. We have global platform partnerships and the likes of your BigCommerce, your Shopify's and Gentos, etc. as well. So we should be able to get any retailer up and running globally with these robust integrations.
Fantastic. Thank you, Robert. Lizzy, over to yourself over in Boston there.
Yes, hello, my name is Lizzy. I also work on the partnerships team here at Clayvo. We're headquartered here in Boston, if you want to go to the next slide. We actually have over 400 employees globally. We just opened our office in London. We're actually hoping to have our inaugural trip to Australia this month, but I don't think that's going to happen. I know it's not going to happen. Sorry. So we have, you want to go back one more slide? That's okay. So we have over 33,000 customers. Our specialty is email, but we've also expanded into SMS, on-site forms. We're also well known for our segmentation and analytics to be able to pump out data really quickly. And we like to be known as the only marketing platform that can really grow with businesses. So whether you're an entrepreneur or you're all the way up to enterprise, we have lots of businesses that start really small and grow with us. One of our big things, next slide, is creating really valuable personalized marketing experiences. And the only way to be able to do that is by getting to know your customers, and that requires a lot of data. So this is kind of an example of the ability to create, thank you, Lena. And that requires data to really know your customers. So this is just an example of a 360-degree view of what your customer would look like. If you go to the next slide, one of our biggest things is that we integrate with all the different touch points that your customers may be interacting with. So we're integrated with, we're a certified Shopify partner. We're with Magento, Salesforce Commerce Cloud, BigCommerce. We have WooCommerce integrations, but we also have all the different other touch points. So reviews and loyalty and other SMS providers. And also Gorgeous as well. So we can make, one combined experience so that you can build really meaningful relationships with your customers. I want to go to the next slide. So basically, being able to have all of your data in one place makes it so that you can make the data super actionable and make those really great experiences seamlessly.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Lizzy. Julian,
Right. Yeah, I've got that. Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Julian. I'm head of customer with Message Media. We're a business messaging and SMS provider based in Melbourne, but definitely global. Do you want to flick through those slides for me? Thanks. So really, we integrate with customers wherever they need to in the journey. I'm passionate about customer journey, customer experience, onboarding, removing friction and slickness, and we do that with our own customers and then helping our customers do that with theirs as well. SMS is a huge way to get in touch with the customer. It's very immediate. Everyone in the world probably has a mobile phone and can receive an SMS. They don't all want to receive one from a business. So we're really better as part of a journey where you have an existing relationship with that customer. But it's really immediate. People open SMSs and they do something with it within 90 seconds. So it's very immediate and very fast. We're a global, or I guess we're a market leader in Australia and New Zealand, and we've got a presence in Europe and in the US at the moment. We've been around for 15 to 20 years, depending on which brand you look at. We sort of have a few brands under our stable. And we're very connected. Integrations is huge. If we go to the next slide, like a lot of these, my fellow panelists have talked about, integrating in with other providers is so important. So whether you're using Shopify or NetSuite or HubSpot, whatever platform you're using to speak with your customers, you can probably tie it into Message Media and include SMS as part of those customer journeys. And we've been working with Reviews.io, the Message Media brand, for about a year, but our SMS broadcast brand for closer to 10 years, have it integrated as part of our customer onboarding program. So super important for us to be able to get that kind of feedback, but also share that feedback with other customers. Great part of our SEO and SEM strategy as well, which is great. So that's me. It's lovely to be able to speak to you all, and we'll kick on.
Excellent. All right. Loyalty line, Fiona.
Thank you. So hi, everyone. I'm Fiona, Head of Marketing here at LowLion. We're a data-driven loyalty and engagement platform powering e-commerce growth for merchants. So why are we here today? When we surveyed our merchants quite recently, we found that increasing customer lifetime value was the single biggest challenge that anybody was facing. So this, combined with the fact that it actually costs 5 times more to acquire a new customer than it does to keep an existing one, means that you need to be thinking about retention at every stage of that customer journey. It's not just about converting customers once, it's about ensuring that they continue to convert over and over again. So before I tell you more about LowLion, I actually just want to take a minute to clear up a couple of misconceptions about loyalty programs. The first thing that we often hear merchants say is that a loyalty program is really expensive. The second thing is that it relies too much on discounting, cheapens a brand. And the third is that it's really complex and just another thing for you to manage on a day-to-day basis. So firstly, cost. Well, what if I told you that customers who become members and engage in a loyalty program actually spend 2.5 times more than non-members, and the average basket size for a customer that uses a loyalty reward in their purchase is 40% greater than the customer that doesn't. So yes, you have to absorb the cost of rewards, but the lifetime value of a program member is actually significantly greater, which means that the ROI that you see from reconverting an existing customer is far more than acquiring a new one. Your loyalty program will actually also help you to acquire new customers more cost effectively. So loyal customers are far more likely to act as advocates, and you can easily encourage those members to leave reviews, make referrals, all those things which result in traffic that's actually far more likely to convert and results in additional customers that have a higher lifetime value. Secondly, the point about cheapening your brand. Well, actually, more and more we're seeing brands move away from discount rewards and focus more on experiential things, early access to sales, invitations to exclusive communities, all these things that cost you nothing but actually make your customers feel like VIPs. And our research actually shows that nearly 70% of customers are motivated to be loyal if a brand shares the same values as them. So a loyalty program actually acts as a really great opportunity to demonstrate who you are as a brand and get people on board that way. Thirdly, the point about complexity. So it's true that a loyalty program is another activity to manage. However, what you might not have considered is how it can work to power the other channels and technologies that you're already using. For example, many of our customers actually use reviews.io and loyalty together to incentivize reviews using loyalty points. Or many of our customers use our integration with Clayvo to incorporate loyalty information into their emails and improve segmentation and personalization. Or they may be using Gorgeous and LoyaltyLine together to help sweeten the kind of sticky customer service situations with loyalty points. So your loyalty program could actually be enhancing the rest of your marketing efforts rather than being an added complexity. So that brings me back to the LoyaltyLine platform itself. We work with over 5,000 retailers around the world, and we just keep stores converting customers or reconverting customers time and time again. I won't go into lots of detail right now, but essentially with a loyalty program, you could be converting guest shoppers into known customers, making it clear how they'll actually benefit from engaging with your brand on a long-term basis. You could be converting those known customers into repeat purchasers with innovative points and reward strategies. You could be converting repeat purchases into advocates, using them to acquire new customers more cost effectively. And then actually you could be reconverting customers who are at risk of churning, who may be about to disengage, and getting them back before it's too late. And actually, if it works for your business, if it suits your business model, you could be turning those customers into subscribers as well. So we work with lots of different types of brands, and we see the best performance across verticals that have naturally high repeat purchase rates. So that's people like beauty, health and wellness, fast fashion, food and beverage. I could keep talking about retention all day, but I will leave it there for now.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Well, as you can see, we've got some fantastic panelists representing a number of different sections as far as the customer lifecycle and journey is concerned, and the tech stack is concerned. I guess one of the things I wanted to sort of put out to all you guys is, if I'm a retailer, I've been to a number of different conferences, I've attended these webinars, I've spoken to my peers within the industry. Where do I begin as far as evaluating which solution and where do I start as far as improving the customer journey is concerned? Tom, do you have any insights there?
Yeah. I mean, obviously the customer journey for us is, and the customer, for us at reviews.io is, there's nothing better that there was a brand and your customer, and for us the customer is the number one salesperson out there. So for us, when we're talking to our customers, one of the first things we do is look at how they're managing their customer journey and what their tech stack is involved. So one of the great things that we look at is what the interactions are throughout that journey, and then how they're currently managing it, what's automated and what's not. So I mean, there's all those touch points that we've talked about, and I think for us it's ensuring that we're able to leverage that feedback and look at that brand trust.
Excellent. And as far as analyzing tools is concerned, does anyone have any value to add as far as when they're having discussions with merchants and trying to figure out if fit and suitability is going to be for them, any guidance you can give merchants on that, Robert?
Yeah, sure. So I'm caveat this by saying I'm not an overall expert on sort of the landscape of e-commerce, but I've worked in partnerships for a couple of different companies like shipping and personalization before payments. But I think that you can adhere to a tagline of sort of attract, convert, and retain, and that probably is a business's tagline if you Google it. I don't actually know which one it could be, but they're pretty safe words to trade by. So measure things like, will this tool help me generate fresh customers or prospects, qualified traffic? Will this aid in increasing my overall conversion? What can I use to help me retain these customers that I'm getting? And these could be, obviously sophisticated tools that you may need to employ, like, something to leverage a more in-depth email marketing campaign, abandoned basket emails, loyalty programs, obviously, as well. So let's say that you don't obviously work with a Convert Digital, and as a retailer or a merchant, you're going to have to navigate this yourself. It's important to really identify where you need the support initially. So obviously tracking sort of, drop-off points, maybe negative reviews or even survey data that you've pulled together, and then pull together an arsenal of tools that can really help you solve for that. So I think it's really difficult because of the pace at which e-commerce is moving. There's so many new different technologies arriving all the time, and that's a minefield. So I would trust certified plugins from tech providers. Look for global standards. I would get demos, truthfully, because they're free, and really walk through and ask as many questions as you possibly can, try and understand where these businesses can really help you. That would be where I would focus my time. There's going to be a lot of research there, but go with what's trusted and what's known and what's certified, because I think the volume of other retailers that are leveraging should speak volumes to you in terms of where the trust lies.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think as far as like assessing suitability is concerned, that's totally bang on, making sure that we're trying to pick the right platform for the right job. Do you guys ever come up to a point, or how do you have discussions with merchants that are looking to onboard your solution or a solution that's similar, but it's really not a good fit? So the reverse of that, do you get a situation where someone's tried to do round peg square hole?
Certainly in the SMS area, you do. You might have a customer who says, I want to send out a message to 1 million people and get them all to come into my shop. And, there's legislation we've got to work through the customer through that you can't do that. And so we then start having better conversations about where is messaging can fit into the journey? What are your friction points, and how do we use better messaging to solve that? So it does happen. And just having better conversations with the customers is the right start.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, more often than not, as an agency, we work with our merchants to a point where they've tried to use tech to solve a problem. And I guess as far as onboarding it, they haven't put resource around it in supporting actually utilizing the tech to its full extent. Do you guys come up to that, and how can you help avoiding that situation where you've onboarded all this technology, but you don't really have the people or the resource to be able to manage it? Lizzy?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that's something that we've heard a lot of at Clayvo. That's been a lot of people have onboarded, and I don't think that they realize all of what they can do. And I think if you've ever dug into Clayvo, there's so much that you can do. It can be overwhelming. It's almost like learning the Adobe suite with like the Photoshop and all the different tools. It's the more you learn, the more you're like, oh, I can actually do that. But we did a lot of enablement, and we have a lot of webinars and a lot of on-demand content that has been created for that purpose exactly, because I think it's, the more you know, the better. But we've seen that it's, taking it in phases and kind of mapping yourself out into a checklist of, all right, let's start with just collecting address or email addresses and contacts, and going from there, and then kind of putting it in a step-by-step process versus trying to overwhelm yourself and take it all at once.
Yeah, that point of readiness is super relevant. Has anyone ever had to say no to a merchant? You guys aren't ready for this technology, and you should really go back a step and start to. I mean, we do it all the time as an agency. We sort of say there's good, better, best when we're onboarding new technology. Have you guys had any experience with that?
I think just to jump in from a LowLion perspective, we definitely do, because loyalty fits really well with people that have high repeat purchase rates, where you have customers coming back and again and again. So if you sell beauty products or something, then the loyalty program is great. If you sell mattresses, people are coming back once every 7 years or so, and it's a totally different customer life cycle. So I think you really have to understand what your objective is with whatever tool you're trying to add. And if it's not going to support the objective you're reaching for, actually you probably need to take a step back and realize that. And that's a conversation that we have to have quite regularly, and that actually you're probably thinking about along the right lines, but it's potentially not the right tool for you right now, and it might be better to look at collecting reviews and things that will help you convert people who are earlier in the journey than 7 years on.
Oh, sorry, can I?
Go ahead, Jack. Yeah, absolutely. Anyone just jump in whenever you want to elaborate on.
To add to what everyone else has said, they've really kind of built like this, and this idea of like when you're walking in and you're looking for the right tech partner, I think the right tech partner will really spend some time on the demo with you to understand what are your goals, what are you trying to achieve, what are the resources available to you. They'll spend quite a bit of time on discovery, as they should, because they also want to set the expectations of, is this tool a good fit for you now, and how can you build on this tool with other tools, right, with all these different integrations if you want to level up your support or your marketing. As everyone said earlier, there's ways to find the right partner by understanding from referrals, like who is a market leader right now. But I think every tool with us, with Gorgeous, you're always we're always looking to like automate experiences for all of our different clients, so that you can kind of focus on other things and bring in stuff like loyalty when it does make sense, and grow into that. So
I'll chime in there and just say, just even more generally, that I think a lot of retailers unfortunately fall into the pit where sold the dream sometimes in terms of what a solution can deliver and how many problems it can solve for. And it may be that potentially it hasn't been sold the dream, but it could be the dream because internally the resources you have don't enable you to maximize the dream that you've been sold effectively. So there's a lot of really complex solutions to problems out there that as a retailer you're going to face, and some of them are very big technology businesses as well. And you can take on a SaaS product to alleviate something or help you solve for something. But then obviously you need to make sure that you're maximizing it. There's no point taking something and only using a little bit of it. So you need to obviously assess, do I need a dedicated resource within my business to have the time and bandwidth to actually manage the tools that I'm bringing in? Will I have enough time or resources within my company to use these things to the best extent? If the answer is I have the bandwidth, or I can afford to have someone to really take my game to another level and use the tools that I'm going to be acquiring, then go for it. But if you feel like you can't effectively utilize what's there at the point in time, there's obviously alternatives. But then this is where I'd say the advice of someone like a Convert would be incredibly useful, which is, I love what these guys do. I just don't back myself to be able to use it. And I just see, so many retailers using very advanced or enterprise, tech stacks, and they're only using an absolute fraction of it, which is a shame for both businesses, because obviously, guys like in the technology space want to see it used to the maximum extent.
Absolutely. I think that
that's good.
Go ahead. Fiona,
I was just going to say,
I was just going to say that, Robert. Yeah, no. Carry on, Fiona. Sorry.
Oh no, I was just going to say that I think it's a really good point from Rob, and I think that's how silos happen. And I think traditional retail has a lot of silos where people work on so many different projects in so many different areas and nothing's connected. And I think that's something that actually e-commerce doesn't have to do, and it's one of the best things about working in e-commerce is everything that you do and every tool that you take on should build on the same objective and actually just work to enhance something that you're already doing. And if it doesn't, then as Rob says, you're probably adding something that you're not ready for. So I think keeping a really close eye on your objectives and making sure that instead of adding 10 different things at 10 different silos, everything that you add actually adds to something you're already doing is quite important for a merchant at the moment.
Absolutely. Tom, did you have something to add before?
Yeah, my point there is, one of the things that we ensure of is, with the reviews and the customer, we ensure that we have a great understanding of Techstack. So it's one of the key things that we look at. So, our teams understand how Clayvo works and that, how we can integrate with their flows and push that segment data in there. And with Gorgeous, how we can capture that review at a happy point of the journey. And with Loyalty Line, being able to reward people for putting, submitting reviews with photos and that extra mile. So yeah, I think it's a great point raised by Robert and Jackie and Fiona as well.
So yeah, I think touching on, Robert, one of your points there was certainly around understanding that internal resource management and your capacity to handle things internally. Is there a situation looking at it where you go, okay, we are comfortable as a business to outsource some things? Is there some things that you shouldn't outsource? For instance, I don't know, looking at Gorgeous and customer service, that's always one that's a bit of a sore spot to look at removing that out of the core of your business. So it's some things okay to give away, or some things you should maintain internally. Anyone have any feedback on that?
Are you considering sort of can we include expertise in the outsourcing?
Yeah.
Yeah, because and in that case, I think I've, as I said, not an expert in sort of online retail holistically, but I have come from a family background of retail, and it was my job within that business. We had multiple stores, physical, to get us online, and that was a huge hurdle in itself because this was years ago. And we really could have used some external support, even if it was not just a fully fledged agency set up as we're scaling, but maybe a consultant to sort of help us navigate where we've never navigated previously. And I think where it becomes really smart for a business to start to employ, outsource, whether it's just sort of general expertise or even solutions. From a solutions perspective, I think fulfillment's a really tricky one, sort of order delivery and things like that, unless you've got the size and scale to have your own warehouse and shit and manage, dispatch returns. As you scale and go international, that there's added complexities there for sure. And then that would be also where, I would, at a point of sort of internationalization or going cross-border, and that should be everyone's aspiration, really. If you want to grow, and then that's something we all have to look at. That would be when I would, have a chat with, Convert Digital, and it's someone that's got a tried and tested record of taking, businesses in potentially my position international and helping me not make the mistakes that I would surely make if I tried to do it on my own or without the experience myself. That would just be my 2 cents there. Localization is where I would look to pull in external advice, because how could you possibly know unless you put in all those arduous hours to research what's the best delivery method in that country? Do they use locker boxes there, or what's the local payment method there? What's the best type of loyalty in that country? What motivates the consumer there? Because it's always different. And guys like Convert would be able to help you there.
And just to add on there, just because I focus on the agency partnership side of things, and I think that there's a huge misconception a lot of times on brands as well, where they think you have to be a multi-million-dollar company to be working with an agency, or you have to have this large project or something that says that you need to be working with outside help. And I think there's no brand that's too small to be asking for help or too large to ask for help. And I think that there are different varying degrees of help that you can get. Like, you can have the amazing help from digital, but there's also, small consultants that you can be asking for help with if you need a little bit of guidance of some nature. So I think that in general, there are experts in the field, and they're, if there's a specific thing that your team isn't, focused on or has the best wrap the head around, I think that it's always great to even just ask for help and see if it's worth kind of going down that area of outsourcing.
Fantastic.
Oh yeah, just to jump in there, I completely agree. And I think there's a real ratio between the speed at which something can make a difference to your business. So we know that most e-commerce store owners are wearing 10 different hats, and there are some things that you can take your time over, and there are some things that you just need to happen really quickly, and you know that the impact that that thing will make is huge. So you have to balance up, okay, what's the impact that a change will make? Like, it could be a localization piece, it could be replatforming, it could be SEO, it could be many different things. But if you know that, if you have a hunch that that one thing is going to make a difference really quickly, and you know that somebody else externally, like an agency, could make that difference a lot faster, then it's probably time to look at bringing in some outside help, I think.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. Understanding the impact of change. As far as ROI on looking at some of these solutions is concerned, often it can be tough to gauge the impact of something. Do you have any suggestions on, whether you should stagger on some of these solutions, or other metrics that you can put in place to really understand the impact of change and the impact of assisting the customer journey through something within the tech stack?
I mean, I know that like back in, what was it, September, we had a bunch of folks from different tech agencies. I know we had Gorgeous, and I think we had Loyalty. We had several there, but we were talking through kind of the tech stack and the customer, brand growth. And as you're starting out as an entrepreneur, it's a very different tech stack that you're going to be looking at than when you're all the way, enterprise, and maybe you're only getting a few emails, so you may not need customer support. So I think the biggest thing is to slowly add things in as they're needed. So, when you're starting out, you need your e-commerce store. You need a way to collect visitors, so pop-up forms, and you probably need like an email or, something of that nature. Then you may want to add in, loyalty. You get some customers, and maybe you have reviews, and you want to have, UGC, and then you keep adding, and you have larger customers, so then you add in customer support. So I think it's incremental changes. So you can see when something that changes has an effect on things.
I like the fail fast idea. It's sometimes when you're working for sort of really larger, bigger or enterprise organizations, that the decision-making process to try things is so long that it starts costing things. When you're small and agile and micro, you can just try things. It's, even if you only have whether it's a Shopify app or a messaging system, have it just running for a month. It's probably not going to cost you much to get it running for a month, but just be agile enough to try it out and see what happens, and be prepared to say, if it's not working after a month, we'll roll it back and try something else.
I'll add to that, and say, I know it's a pretty soft thing to come back to, but I do advocate those principles of attracting and converting and retaining, which is what all of these solutions on the call here sort of aid with today, like a part of that journey. Look at, metrics. If you want to look at metrics, am I generating qualified traffic? What are my social campaigns producing? What's the bounce rate? What's the conversion rate of sort of everything that I'm doing? Am I seeing converting customers that return? Can I retain those returning customers through engaging content? Do my tools enable these kind of principles? So metrically, I think it's also important to set your own gauge for success. Obviously, it's different for everyone and every business, but you should be looking to convert and boost loyalty. You want to see more qualified and loyal customers coming back and purchasing with you, and you want to always grow your loyal customer base as well. So that's obviously something you should be tracking. But then also, I'd say metrically, wouldn't it be a great thing to put back on the tools that you've selected to get you to where you are today? Most vendors are really transparent. They're going to be transparent about the success that they're driving for you, because your success as a retailer underpins their success as a business. So you could always say, look, this is what I want to achieve. Let's set the goalposts and let's revisit it in three months' time. And I want to know exactly where you're driving that success for me. Now, obviously, that's a luxury afforded to some businesses that give you customer success and things like that. But it's still a question that you can ask, a provider. Very transparent information. How well am I doing? What have you brought to the table for me?
I think Rob's completely right on that. And I think to do that, you need to know what you're trying to achieve before you add a new platform. So it's really easy. I mean, the Shopify App Store, for example, is full to bursting with different things that you could add on a daily basis. But you could end up adding a ton of different things without much really clear view of what you're trying to achieve or what your objective is.
We call that a Frankenstein.
I think, yeah, I think Rob's absolutely right. You should hold all of us apps and then services to account with this is what I want to achieve. But figuring that out as a business first before you approach that app or before you install it is really important. You need to know what you're expecting to achieve from it and what you're trying to achieve from it. Otherwise, you're not going to know what's successful and what's not, and it's going to be really hard for that app to deliver that for you as well. So I think figuring out exactly where you want to focus, it could be you want to acquire new customers, it could be you want to retain your existing customers, whatever it is, you need to know that before you sort of dip your toe into the water with a different app, I think.
Excellent. We've had a couple of questions come through, and one of them has been around integration of apps between each other, and the question was around LowLion, Gorgeous, and Clayvo. But Fiona, you also brought it up, this situation of having these tech stack silos. What is the importance of things being able to communicate with each other within your tech stack?
I think it's so important, and I think that's why Shopify Plus have obviously built the whole Flow connectors for Flow, all of that piece recently. I think each of these technologies is really strong on its own. So Clayvo as an ESP is phenomenal, but if you can build in your loyalty information into that, then if you can bring in all these different fields, then your personalization gets that much better, your customization gets that much better. If you have, for example, Gorgeous, you have a help desk, you have a potentially quite sour customer situation, but you can reward a very disgruntled customer with loyalty points and actually cheer them up a little bit, then you have a stronger case. Actually, all of these things operate fantastically in different silos, but then you have kind of just a cost. Each one is a cost center. Whereas if you have each one working together and you're building one on the other, then you have a far more powerful solution. And I think it's actually one of the things I find most exciting about working in e-commerce at the moment is how everything is working together. And you might have a Maya or a David Jones that took maybe 2-3 years to build some of the solutions that you can create in 10 minutes with an app store on Shopify now. And I think, just bringing it all together and looking at how each different one can support the other means that you can just accelerate so quickly as a business in a way that you never could do before.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, I honestly don't think that Clayvo as a standalone product, and thank you, Fiona, for even saying that, but I don't know if Clayvo as a standalone product could be what it is without all of the integrations and the partners that are even on this call. It's, if we have a loyalty program, you're going to want to treat a customer that has, the super loyal to somebody who's not loyal differently, or somebody that has given you a 5-star review versus a 1-star review very differently, or someone that's had a great experience with customer support or non. So I think if you're going to be treating your customer base as personally and making them feel like they're a human and individual customer, the only way to do that is by having as much data as humanly possible. So having that and being able to communicate in a way that feels personal to their level, we couldn't do that without integrations. So thank you to all our great integration partners.
I would add to that. I was sorry, Fiona, do you want to go?
I was just going to say, to be able to do it automatically, to be able to automate that stuff just saves you so infinite amounts of time.
Yeah, really, really good point around automating it there, because otherwise you get way laid down with the manual process. To add to that point, it's like looking at an enormous jigsaw puzzle that you've got to obviously fit together, but it's amazing when all of the pieces talk to each other as well, which is what integrated partners often do. So behind the scenes, which maybe retailers don't see, there's a lot of meetings between technology vendors, like the ones that are on the call today, working about how they can connect their solutions together to achieve a greater ends or deliver sort of a combined value and remove the silo. And that's why Shopify's Flow is obviously excellent in its own right, because it connects other different solutions, and Klarna is in there as well. And if I can just speak from our perspective, some really interesting use cases where I've seen, dynamic pop-ups, overlays being surfaced to consumers that have landed, maybe second or third time on the website, and they've had items in the basket and then they've gone to abandon, and someone's injected Klarna branding and imaging in a pop-up saying, "Don't leave. Did you know you can try before you buy?" Or, take it home. Maybe payments is the real reason. Or leveraging, different connected payment methods in your abandoned basket emails via Clayvo as well. So looking at a customer set that, has a reasonably high propensity to buy. They're engaging, their dwell time's long, they're clicking through categories, they've added items to basket, and then they've left. why have they left? Was it something at the checkout that's prompted that, or did they just get distracted? Because let's face it, we're not just up against the whole conversion journey on the site. It's push notifications, sports scores, anything and everything that can drag them out of that. So, connecting in something like Klarna or loyalty into those sort of abandoned basket prompts is also a really successful way of leveraging all of your solutions in one.
Excellent. Talking around the, that seamless, the jigsaw puzzle and the integration and automation side of things, Lizzy, from a Clayvo perspective, as far as preservation of customer and understanding the customer journey and the brand relationship, how important is that, and what are you guys seeing in that space?
Yeah, no, we've been talking about this concept of owned marketing for quite some time now, about really owning and truly controlling the brand customer journey from start to finish. So from the first time that they interact with you on your store until they get your first message, they see any messaging that they hear back, they feel it's very, you control that. You're able to be in the driver's seat. I think that having an automation strategy, as we had talked about, you can't do it. You can't do your business without it. I mean, you can't answer manual emails to millions of customers. Like, that's impossible, but you still want to make it feel like it's personalized. So there's so many ways, whether it's using, loyalty programs or reviews or customer support, of using that data to influence the ways that the different flows branch off. So just the abandoned cart that you're talking about, by having, a split between somebody that had a large abandoned cart versus a small abandoned cart, and making sure that you're sending them different messaging that way. Some really cool flows, even like one of our pet supply customers, they asked for, their pet's birthday. And then they also start to look at, are they looking at large dog beds or small dog beds? Are they looking for, big things or small things? And as they start to learn more about their customer, they're able to put in different segments and branch out, so that when they send messages to them, even if they're automated flows, they have imagery that'll be a small dog or a large dog, so that it feels personal. It feels like they are attracted to it. So I feel like there's so many different ways that you can retain your brand while still making it feel like that customer has been getting a personalized experience.
And to add to that, I guess, when we're looking at approach to new channels, things like SMS, Julian, how do you make it feel like you're not getting overwhelmed? You're getting hit up through email, you're getting this constant level of communication from the brand. How are you guys approaching new channels?
Yeah, well, it's interesting. Like we have really long-term relationships with our customers. It's I think the average lifetime span of a customer is about 7 years. So the onboarding, really that first 30 days is the most critical piece. So we've actually spent a lot of time and really designed a flow that hits up the customer at the right time with information they need. So, we're slowly exposing our products to them through email and through SMS, hitting them up at the right time for a review, because we know it's easier to get a review out of a customer early in their lifetime than later, for our customers. Hitting them up at the right time to get NPS and feedback about the platform, where we want them to have actually been using our products for a while before we actually get the right information out of that customer. So look, it's just, for us, it was mostly around having a really considered approach and hitting up the customer with the right information over the right medium. So I find with SMS, you're more likely to get a response, but you're less likely to get a really detailed, granular response about product feedback. Whereas if we hit up a customer over email, they're less likely to respond, but they're more likely to go into more detail. So knowing how each of those mediums sort of generates a response out of the customer helps you design I guess for us, an onboarding program that gets the most value out of that relationship.
And as far as getting the value out of the relationship, Fiona, what are some tactics from a loyalty perspective that can help support the customer journey alongside the messaging and automation side of things?
Yeah, I think, the first and most important thing is kickstarting that relationship. So, we're seeing, particularly at the moment, certainly across, UK, US, and Australia, we're seeing a lot of spikes in different categories with this whole coronavirus thing. But certain categories are booming, and it's exactly the same as Black Friday. You see a lot of new customers come in, but they don't create accounts, they don't become members. They shop once and then they go again, and then you have to spend all that money acquiring the same number of people again. So I think the tactic that I would really think about is, how do you get people into your brand? How do you get them aligned? How do you get them creating an account? How do you get them understanding the value of a relationship with you? And I think the biggest thing, and it's a real trend that we're seeing increase a lot at the moment, is actually people want to shop with their hearts, not their heads. They want to shop with the brands that share the values that you have. This whole conscious consumerism thing is really becoming quite a big deal, and we're seeing a lot of brands do really interesting things with that. So for example, going back to Lizzy mentioned pet supplies, that's actually one of the industries we're seeing do this really well. So we have a lot of pet supplies store who instead of giving you a discount or a money off reward, you can actually use your points to give money to a dog shelter or to knit booties for dogs and that kind of thing. So you're really you're creating a community, and you're making people feel like they're part of something bigger, and you're really demonstrating that you align with their brand values. Similarly, we've got some beauty brands who you can earn points by returning the packaging for your empty makeup products for recycling. And it's just really showing that your brand cares about the same things that your community cares about, and that means that those people are going to want to come back and shop with you again because they know that you're really aligned. And I think that's something that's just increasing. It's becoming more and more important. And again, particularly in the current climate, we're reading a lot at the moment about people. I can't remember the exact quote, but it was really beautifully put by someone. It was something about people remember the people who put causes over profits at the moment. And I think actually it stands as a really good point. If you want to build a relationship with your customers, you have to show them that you understand what they care about and you care about the same things, and that's something that means a really long-lasting connection.
100%. And as far as the COVID side of things in payments world, Rob, how's it affecting the customer behavior, and what sort of things are you guys seeing your merchants doing? What's the onboarding looking like?
I was just going to tail in off what Fiona had said as well. I think COVID's a really interesting situation because it's brought a lot more online shoppers, put a lot more shoppers online potentially, and into this ecosystem. There's physical stores have closed, and people that have historically been really loyal to an in-store purchase, going in there and shopping how they want to shop, they're now shopping online. So obviously businesses have had to pivot there and focus on reliability and keeping their inventory up to date and stuff like that. But from a Klarna perspective, how the COVID environments have sort of affected payments. Well, look, I guess we sit somewhere between providing affordability and convenience, really. So it hasn't affected things too much in terms of the ability to sort of process payments and what businesses are doing. But if you look at our branding and sort of where we sit, I think we sort of project through as again, something that's an affordable method for someone to take something home today and spread purchases out. But also it's the convenience play. It's, you are at home, your wallet's out of reach. It's be able to sit there and click through a pre-filled checkout experience. It's all wrapped up in that pink bow, which is our branding. In terms of sort of choice at the checkout and why it's important to offer multiple different payment methods and not just sort of straddle a few. Choice is king. Ultimately, that's the reason why we have multiple airlines and taxis and different brands and clothing. There is always going to be an affinity, and as you are right, consumers will align themselves to, not just based on brand but functionality and what problem you're solving for. And obviously for Klarna, it's the affordability mixed with sort of convenience. So I think we see a lot of spend moving the direction in the buy now pay later space, just sort of generally in payments, because you got to look at the generations, and you can't peg hole it, but Gen Z and millennials, there's less and less credit cards being rolled out. People are shying away from sort of credit debt. So it's important to have alternatives for these consumers that want to extend debit facilities as well. So the customer experience for us isn't just the point of sale, though. It's sort of what happens well past that. I think this goes for every retailer. So it's not just about, giving them an option, a different option to pay the point of purchase, but also, the post-purchase experience and how we sort of interact and speak to them. So obviously we have a shopping app, and consumers can interact with merchants and read blogs and and they can tell their story within that. And I think shipments and payments also still, I'd say they're totally entwined. And that from a post-purchase delivery perspective, you know, if you're unhappy with your goods and they've been, you know, drop kicked over the fence by the postman, you're going to call your retailer and say this arrived broken. And the same thing with Klarna. If you've ever got any issues and you need to return those, or you're not happy with purchases, you just log that within the app, and all payments have been paused. So the experience extends past just making it affordable and convenient at the point of purchase. You need to make it convenient post the purchase, and put the retail partnerships that we have first, and make sure that we're not creating headaches for their customers.
Tom, you sit in the post-purchase world well and truly. Any with this mass influx of people moving to spend online, how's reviews come into that, and are you guys seeing any trends in the volume of reviews that have been left at the moment within your system? What's that look like?
Yeah, definitely. You know, we've seen a huge amount of volumes go up, and one thing where we've actually been testing is these video reviews actually. So you know, we've seen we've had the beta testing side within our collection pages for some time, and I think certainly with the isolation and the way that people are buying now, the way that they're embracing video reviews has become very interesting. You know, we've seen a huge increase in the number of reviews that have been submitted, that people are taking the time to actually, you know, film their purchase and actually share that content through our platform as well. But yeah, certainly the increase over the last few weeks is, you know, certainly we've seen volumes like Black Friday sort of volumes. So yeah, I mean, and the way that people are using the platforms now, I think using reviews is becoming cleverer in terms of what we're seeing. You know, obviously Klaviyo and loyalty side has become a huge part of rewarding and managing that personalized journey from a review perspective, and how that can actually be shared socially as well. That interact, you know, having the verified element, but being able to push that out through social channels as well. We're seeing, you know, again, huge volumes there.
Excellent. Well, we're actually, it went relatively quickly. We're bang on 11:30 here, guys. So got to get ready to wrap up. But I think, thank you very much. Certainly everyone, Lizzy, Julian, Jackie, Fiona, Robert, and obviously Tom, thanks for helping set this up with me. And to all the attendees, we'll send through some communication post the session, just with a bit of a follow-up and some details about all the partners, and look forward to catching up post-COVID with the majority of you, and Fiona and Lizzy, look forward to seeing you in Australia.
Yeah,
definitely. Thanks everyone.
Hope so.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thanks
for having us.
See you everyone. Bye.
Thanks everyone. Cheers. Thank you.
Bye.